Welcome to Real Estate Done Right-ish, your favorite podcast for realtors by realtors.
Oh no. We're starting off with
I'm Jen.
And I'm Annalie. And for a combined 30 years, we've been working in this industry just trying to figure it out. And by figuring it out, we mean
We manifest clients like we manifest parking spots, inconsistently but with deep faith.
I do try to manifest a parking spot here
With deep faith, right?
every time I drive in.
Yeah.
I want a good one.
Yeah.
I want there to not be people too close because I just got a new car.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to bang their doors into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. It's like, we don't always get the spot, but we're going to show up with faith. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What are we talking about today, Annalie Nienow?
Oh, am I in trouble? No, I feel like I'm
No,
in the principal's
you're
office.
official. That's what you are.
Okay, well, first,
Yes, numero uno. We should have had Prosecco with today's episode.
We should have.
Today feels like a
man,
happy
we went
shower vibe.
from finishing up sober to be like, oh, we really should be having a drink right now. Okay, first, if you like this, please follow us.
Yeah.
Share it with a friend. Hit the follow button. Give us a review. Rate us 5 stars. Is that all the things?
I mean, you
Send
could
us
send
an
us an
email.
email and tell us how
Hello.
much you love us.
Say hello at realestatedonerightishpod.com.
You got it.
That's our email address,
It's in the show notes.
just like it sounds
Yeah.
in the show notes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, please do all those things. And share it with a friend.
It's
Right?
been interesting because we've had more listeners listening that are not in real estate. And probably because we don't talk about real estate all the time. We were talking about other things.
Yeah,
So that's
both.
kind of fun. Maybe we'll switch the podcast name to, what would we switch it to if it wasn't real estate? Life Done Right-ish?
It's literally thinking that.
Were you thinking
I
that?
was looking at our sign that's
Yeah.
behind me, and
Yeah.
it says real estate, and I was like, we just need
Maybe
a
swap
different,
that out.
more all-encompassing word.
Yeah,
Life.
life.
Done rightish.
Yeah. I mean, jinx.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We're switching things up a little bit. We're coming out of our month where we were focusing on a topic each week. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff today. Now we're going to cover a whole
It's
bunch
like
of stuff
a
in one week.
smorgasbord. It's like old country buffet.
I don't think that's the word. Say that again.
Smorgasbord? Smorgasbord?
Smorgasbord.
Either way,
I
it's a
wonder what
buffet.
that word.
It's a
now I know.
buffet.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole plethora of small topics. So we're gonna hit on.
Go.
We're gonna start a new segment that we're hoping we can keep going.
There is no hope. There's
Oh,
only do.
There's only manifestation. We're manifesting this. This actually, people, we're relying on you. It's going to be an Ask Us Anything segment. So we randomly had a few different people just give us feedback of what they'd like to hear more of in the last month, I would say.
And we said, we have everything you need.
We said, we'll do that. Thank you. We will serve that up for you. And we want more. So this, I would say anything from like a nitty gritty specific contract question, or how would I handle this, to a client conversation, to business building, team building, to
Anything.
life stuff.
We're
We'll-
talking
we'll
about
talk
life
about
stuff.
anything.
We kind of will talk about anything. Almost anything.
Almost anything. So if we're not addressing your question, you know it went outside the lines. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
But you can still submit
We
it.
can still submit it. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll answer you privately. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Give us your questions.
Okay.
So we're starting with that today.
So please send those in, and that would be email is probably best, or
Yeah, or
DM
DM
us
on social media.
Social media, Instagram's best, or
Yep.
or the email, which again is in the show notes. So we're gonna kick off with that today. We do have a couple in the pipe for that. Then we're gonna talk about something we are seeing come back into the market that I think a lot of agents that are working in the market right now have not seen before, or have not seen a lot, which is the contingency, sale of property contingency. So what is that? What does it look like? And this is going to be like a high level touching on a few things to just start out with. Then we're going to talk about the market. What the
economy
heck is
too.
happening? Yeah, economically, what's going on that's concerning us and our consumers right now. And then finally, we're going to get back to some just kind of like more personal stuff, which is we're calling it compartmentalizing as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And we'll go into what that means when we get there.
Yeah, like when life shows up and you're a 9-to-5 worker, you can handle it a little bit differently than when you own a business and you just have to do certain things a certain way. So we're going to talk about how we do that. Yeah.
Sure.
how we compartmentalize or how we try to, or not to. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be a conversation. All right. So first, ask me anything. This came
Can
from.
I ask you anything right now?
I would prefer you didn't.
Okay.
Because I'm afraid of your question.
You should be.
This one I thought was really interesting. Came in from someone I know, actually. Shout out. You'll know who you are. He said, can you tell... He actually asked for me to like ask people we're dating. I am not dating anyone. You are. But I have dated humans.
Congratulations. Isn't that fun?
It's not nice for me. But he said, what is it like dating a realtor? And I think his whole point was you guys are kind of always, well, you're putting yourself out there a lot. So there's that aspect of it. You're social, or that's the perception. And these are not his words. These are my words.
Yeah.
But also like we noted, in busy seasons, like it looks different to be in a relationship with a real estate agent, and it looks different in slow seasons too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So we're talking a little bit about that from our perspective.
Yeah.
We did not go again. I'm not dating anyone. We did not go back to anybody, so we don't know what they would say. But
I've heard people talk about it before. I'm like, I've heard a lot of people talk about this. Yeah,
I've had some feedback.
Have you from boyfriends?
Yeah.
What have they said?
Well, it's interesting because again, over different times in my career, I have looked very differently in how I handle my clients and how I handle real estate.
Okay. So there's like, you can have boundaries in this industry. You can have no boundaries in this industry. You can have some.
Yeah.
And then there's like, there's seasonality.
Yeah.
And I would also say there are things that are time sensitive that we have to get back to almost no matter where we are and what we're
100%.
doing. Yeah. Okay. So what's the feedback you've had first though?
Well, I've had feedback of your phone is really annoying. Will you please put your phone away? And this was more when I was younger and was really like, I mean, I was like
people pleasing with your clients.
I was also like on the forefront of working on like Facebook ads. Like I was running Facebook ads through Facebook.
So
and, like,
it was like
Meta
speed to lead stuff. Like I have to get back to this right now, or I'm
or
going to lose
I'm
the
wasting
opportunity.
my money.
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, if I'm gonna do these beta tests for one day, then I'm gonna have my phone on me that entire day.
Yeah.
Right. To like, and I'm instantly like calling, texting, emailing. From my phone. And back then, again, there wasn't a great automated system for that stuff yet. So anyway, that was very specific. I remember the day that I got sat down.
Let me tell you about yourself. Yeah.
I think I've had people like during busy seasons complain about like all you care about is work. But then in slow seasons kind of be like, you're lazy.
Okay, wait, listen. Listeners, if you're not a realtor, if you're passing, or if you are a realtor and you want to pass this along to your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever. Yeah. Like, this stuff is actually real. And you, if you've been listening to our episodes, you know that the stress as an entrepreneur, not just a real estate agent, but to build a business enough in a way so that you confidently have revenue coming in without these highs and lows. If you're going to build it big enough to have consistency, there are going to be times when it's like, I'm really busy right now. I was thinking about the other day, and this is not an uncommon analogy, but it is like farming, at least in the Midwest where we have seasonality, where it's like, I am planting seeds in fourth quarter. We've been talking about that. Like I am going really hard. And when it's harvest time and things are popping, people don't say that. That sounded so stupid coming out of my face.
I liked it.
Things are popping. No. Anyways, when there's fruit, it's like, I'm going to go get that. And I'm not going to apologize. Because if I don't get this now, I might be hungry later. And I might be crying later in my car because I'm worried about not paying my bills or not meeting my goals or whatever it is. It's like, no. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. And that is a real thing. If you're going to date a realtor that's moderately successful, you're going to have to deal with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it comes with just, I think if the person has only worked for other people, if they've never done anything entrepreneurial, it's really hard to understand that, and to understand also like, then put into the fact that like, I'm a woman and my energy has a 28-day cycle. My real estate energy probably has a year-long cycle, seasonality, peaks and valleys. There are going to be like 3 days in a row where I work out and I'm super chill and I'm like, and then I'm going to freak out because I've just chilled for 3 days and didn't feel like I pushed hard enough. And, it's all over the board as far as like giving energy and receiving energy in our business world. Yeah. So I think just like having understanding and trying to, I don't know, you got to be kind of chill.
Well, and I think this is turning into like a boundaries conversation kind of, but I'm like,
no, not again.
No. But I'm like, because so we were just saying, so I'm dating somebody now.
Yeah.
This is the first time, the last time I was selling real estate, I was married and getting divorced. Which, maybe it's telling, folks. Just kidding. That's not why I got divorced.
Oh, God, no.
No, it's not. And then I was in management all these years and now I'm selling again. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have a conversation because right now, I mean, I just had a new listing come on and I had potential offers coming in and I hadn't had this conversation with this guy yet to just say, hey, heads up, if I'm getting an offer, this is not something I can just like not respond to. And I do have to have an eye on my phone occasionally. I would say though, like if I was out at dinner, I would treat it or do my best to treat it like I was on a different listing appointment.
Yeah.
So like you're on a date with your person, you can go, hey, I'm going to set the phone down for an hour. But after that hour, I need to check it just like I would after an appointment.
Excuse me.
And like, here's the expectation setting and here's the boundary setting. Yeah. And when I was like crazy, I had multiple things going on. I had an auto reply. I didn't actually end up using it because I didn't need to use it, but after, I think did we talk about this on the podcast? It was like after 8 p.m. that on all my emails, it would just get a like, hey, I'm going to turn down at 8:30. I turn into a pumpkin, but don't worry, I'm up early, to all the realtors that were messaging me. Cause it's just kind of like at this certain time, I'm going to be done. So it doesn't have to be crazy, but if you're dating a realtor and you want like a day on the lake with no interruptions, it's not going to happen. It's unless you have a really good system set up where you're like,
because I'll say the last few years, I've hardly worked weekends.
Yeah, if you have a team, if you have an assistant, if you set up expectations with your clients, if you're not selling 200 units a year, there's a lot of ifs with that. But okay,
yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
So what's it like to date a realtor? Dreamy. I mean, she could be your sugar mama.
Beware. Be patient.
Buyer beware.
Be patient. Be ready for. Yeah, it just looks different.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great question. Thank you for sending that in. What's next?
Oh, you want me to just keep going?
Yeah. Okay. That's what we do on this podcast.
Oh, you want me to talk more? I thought I was done.
No.
Dang it. Okay. Sale of property contingency.
Okay, before we continue, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube right now, look at Annalie's shirt color and what's the word I'm looking for? You look so good in that color.
Oh, thank you.
You keep catching my eye, Annalie.
You are freaking me out.
No, I'm not. I'm straight.
Okay. Now we're transitioning away from the color of my shirt and dating to contingencies.
This is a great podcast.
We're all over the board today. Okay, contingencies. So specifically, sale of a home contingency. This came up because I am what's called a tutor of the day in our office. So I answer agent calls on Sundays, and I actually had 2 different people call me with very different scenarios, but both pertaining to this contingency. Both of those agents were like, "Uh-oh, we've literally never worked with one of these." And I said, well, one question I would also just go into this thinking about asking is, has the agent on the other side either?
Okay, wait, we need to pause. We need to even talk about what does this mean. So you're the listing agent. Annalie is the listing agent. She is selling a house. And I am a buyer's agent, and my buyers want to write an offer on your listing. Mm-hmm. And so I say, here's an offer. It is contingent upon my buyers selling their home on 123 Main Street. So
correct.
it's a great offer. It's over list. It's a short inspection window. But my buyers need to sell the house, their current house, in order to be able to buy your listing.
Correct.
How do we handle this?
Correct.
Okay.
With a contingency.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a whole, in the state of Minnesota, there is a whole separate form. I'm not sure how it's done in every single state. Again, just listen to our disclaimer.
Yeah.
We are licensed in the state of Minnesota. We are not attorneys. I'm going to talk very specifically to what our contingency looks like. My gut says they're similar across the board.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They might just be written a little bit differently, or smaller, or shorter, or longer.
So the questions you got were also like, how do we talk to our clients about it? So first we're going to like break down understanding what the scenario is, and then how to have the conversations.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with things to think about if you're talking to your buyer who's considering using this contingency. Okay.
Who is you?
Your
me.
buyer.
I'm the buyer's agent.
Jen's the buyer's agent still.
Yep.
I'm the listing agent through this whole conversation.
Yep.
So Jen's going to go sit down with her buyer.
Yep.
And her buyer said, well, I really need to sell my home. Or I need to write a contingent offer. I need to write this contingent on the sale of my home, which means financially I have to sell this home to be able to proceed with purchasing the
equity. The buyer is going to use the equity in their home as the down payment, as an example, we'll say.
Now, I will preempt this that I still think not using this contingency is going to be best for your client in most scenarios, because they're just coming back to the market, and not every market where we are is a buyer's market. And this is a buyer's market term. You're not going to see it in a seller's market. It's why we haven't seen them really in 8 years.
Yeah.
They kind of just disappeared.
Would you say that they're
why
also
would someone take one?
Kind of like and maybe this is why we're seeing them show up, because it's more like also like a balanced market scenario. It's like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes if a house is sitting right now, there are some houses sitting that are maybe even underpriced. A seller might consider this kind of an offer.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I would say, what other terms are you going to have to give as the buyer to get the seller to take this contingency, right? An offer is an entire package of terms. It's not just price. It's not just timeline. It's not just inspection. It's all of it.
Right.
And so what does all of it look like? And is that going to be competitive enough to sway a seller to take this? Because it is a pretty big risk for them. So we're going to go back to what do you as the buyer's agent need to talk to your buyer about who wants to or needs to sell their home and use this contingency. So the very first thing that we talk about is timeline with them. If there is no other option, if we've talked about bridge loans, and we've talked about qualifying without selling, and we've talked about being uncomfortable and finding
selling first and then renting or living with family or whatever.
Being homeless potentially. If we've run through all those scenarios and none of those work, that's when we land at this conversation. And the very first thing is your house ready?
Right.
Let's make sure your house is ready.
Yep.
Our standard on our team, because again, if I'm going to use this contingency, I want to be able to write, when I'm representing the buyer, I want to be able to write the strongest offer I possibly can.
Right.
And that usually means the home is either already on the market, so we've got proof that we're ready to roll, or it's ready to go to market. So is your house ready, or how fast can you get it ready is the very first conversation with the buyer.
Also 10 years ago when I did this, but we would actually do photos. It was like, you do that too. Yeah.
That was the next thing I was going to say.
If you can pitch this offer to the listing agent, if I come to you and I say, listen, seller has home completely ready. Here's the market analysis. Here are all the comps. I'm going to give you every bit of research I've done. We're pricing this under current comps.
You're kind of blowing through all the information.
Oh, am I really? Oh, sorry. What, Jen? I'm raining on your parade. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So timing is the first one.
Yeah.
In that long list of things. Okay, yes. Yeah. So because again, you're not just presenting a normal offer. You're presenting the contingency and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah.
And there is a lot more to present.
Yeah.
It was what the point you were making, and we're going to talk about all of those things in just 1 second.
Sorry.
So exactly, is it ready? If it's not ready, what we would talk about is, okay, before we get serious about going out and looking at homes that we're going to consider writing a contingent offer on, then you have to get your house ready.
Yeah.
So we would have them get their home completely ready. We would call it like it was ready for market, and then they could trash it again if they wanted to. I mean, we didn't want them to, but we were like, get it showing ready, and then you can go back to living, and then you get 1 day to put it back together was like our standard that we would set. And we would take full photos, the truth in housing, if there's a truth in housing requirement would be done. Everything would be done.
It's prepping a listing. It's the whole
would
thing.
legitimately be in withhold status in the MLS so that we were ready to hit the active button and we could go. So having that conversation and explaining to them all the things that go along with that and why that's important.
Okay, and I'm going to pause you. Maybe I'm stepping ahead again here too.
Yeah.
But if a buyer is like, well, or the question is maybe why wouldn't I just go on the market? And there's like pros and cons to all of this, obviously. But if they go on the market and they get an offer, but they haven't found a home yet to buy. So a lot of it is that kind of like timing, obviously, the timing, the middle ground of going, we're totally ready to go, but we don't want to go on the market yet until we have a home that we know we can move into.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why. Okay. Yeah.
You start touching on this. What's our marketing and pricing plan? So we're gonna get that dialed in. Now we might not pick the final price until the day we're writing the offer, but I need that price the day we're submitting an offer on the home we want to purchase, because again, as you alluded to, we're going to be submitting an entire, like typically would submit a pricing plan that was signed by the buyer, seller of the backup house. And we're talking about their backup house marketing and pricing plan. So what are we going to start? What were my comps that I pulled? What's our starting price? What's the comps I pulled? What's our plan if it doesn't sell in 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, and 14 days? And we would have hold or adjust next to each of those. Because as a listing agent getting an offer with this contingency, I want to know that that buyer trying to buy my listing, sell their backup house, that buyer has already had these conversations with their seller. They already are completely on board.
So let me just, this is hard to track when people are listening. So you're just saying, Annalie, you as a listing agent, you want to know that me, Jen, that I've talked to my buyer and that my buyer is a reason, or my seller, seller and buyer in this case.
Because in this case, they're a buyer to me. They're a seller and a buyer to you.
Yes. So as a seller, so for me though, Jen, let's say my client's name is Joe. Joe, when he's selling his home as the seller, you want to know that he's being reasonable, that he's not going to overprice the home by $100,000. So you want to know when I submit this offer to you that he's not way overshooting the market and that the house is going to sit on the market for 80 days or however long. So we want to know that it's a reasonable plan for the sale of the home.
I've also, as the listing agent, asked that question and had the response, well, we don't know yet. Absolutely unacceptable.
No.
How do I even bring that to my seller?
No, because we all know that there are people that are very unreasonable in how they want to price their homes.
Another thing that I would talk to the client about through use of a net sheet is, what's our bottom line? Is there a number that this is no longer going to work? How much equity and how much wiggle room do they have to work with here? Because if it's tight, get ready for your listing agent, if they know what they're talking about, to be asking that question.
Right.
I want to know, as the listing agent, how low can you go?
Yeah.
And at what point are you pulling and you're having to walk if you're not getting an offer? So having that conversation. Again, if I'm representing the buyer who's trying to buy using this contingency, I'm having that conversation and I'm prepping all of this stuff to submit with the offer. And I'm calling that listing agent and saying, can we talk through my marketing and pricing plan, our bottom line, what they're willing to do, et cetera, et cetera. And then really explaining to the buyer as well. So again, Jen's talking to her buyer before she submits this contingency about general terms. Are they willing to give more in other areas to make this a softer sell?
Higher price.
Are you gonna literally like buy the home or have the seller like sell the contingency, meaning accepting the contingency means more money, right? Are they gonna get more for that? Are you gonna waive inspection? Are you gonna what are you gonna do that might entice them to say this is worth the risk? Because they are taking on additional risk, right? The home is technically active, but contingent. You are in a legal contract, and we'll talk about that in a second. Other things to make sure your buyer understands is that them coming up with alternative financing or cash does not remove this contingency per the way the contingency is written in the state of Minnesota. Again, not sure if this is different in different states. Please look into that or talk to your broker. But in Minnesota, the only way to clear this contingency is by getting their backup home under contract and any contingencies.
So when
on
you're
that
saying
home,
backup home, you just mean me, Jen, as the buyer's agent, just the home that the buyer needs to sell, their home.
Yes.
It's not another backup home. It's just,
well, it's the backup to this offer.
yes, it's the sale that the offer is contingent upon.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the buyer's home. We just call it the buyer's home for clarity's sake. Yeah.
Yes. So if we call their contingency, which this gets even more in the weeds, but if I get another offer, or we're 2 weeks out from our closing date and I say, hey, what are we doing? And we're talking about calling the contingency. Typically calling the contingency would only be done when you get another offer in on the primary home, the first sale that we're talking about, my listing as the listing agent. And you come back and you say, well, they have cash from their parents, so we'll just remove the contingency. That is not a legal removal of contingency unless it was decided at the time the purchase agreement was accepted that is a reasonable and acceptable option. Both parties are agreeing to that.
You could amend the contract though to remove the contingency, correct? I mean, there's no reason you could if
the seller
everybody
wanted to.
agrees. Yeah.
But what if seller gets a higher
better
offer
offer.
for cash that can close in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And you're 5% down.
Yeah.
And
So it doesn't
we have to get
automatically, the
through-
point is it doesn't automatically just say, okay, good, we still have to accept offer A's offer. You can go, no, sorry, we're calling it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then know that these are risks to talk to all clients about, both, anybody that's in this chain of humans. But if I, as the listing agent, let's say from the beginning, you submit your offer and you put right in there, or they'll use alternative financing or cash.
Yep.
And you're asking me to agree to that, I would say, great, let's amend this to a 30-day closing date. Why don't you just use that alternative financing or cash?
Yeah. Cards are on the table at that point. And then.
So, and again, does the other agent, are they savvy? Do they understand any of these terms?
This is why you hire a savvy agent or one that can figure out this stuff, because you can see why it matters to have an agent. This is where I'm like trying to navigate this on your own and not understanding how all of this can work and the dominoes that can fall on.
Yeah.
There's
And
so much.
We talk a lot. Well, I talk a lot about my job is to lay out the pros, cons, risks, and rewards of any decision for my client.
Right.
And then not just that decision, but where is that one going to go?
Yeah.
Which path is that going to take us down?
Yeah.
So if we're struggling at this fork in the road, let's go to the next decisions or the next set of decisions down either fork, because maybe that'll give us clarity back at this decision.
Yeah.
This adds so many forks in the road and so many potential question marks.
And I don't know how you've seen it, but I've seen it where there's like several parties like this in a chain. It's like
and that's the other
crazy
thing. So, but note that removing this contingency cannot be with a contingent offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the only time we clear
my buyers,
your buyer's backup home, their home they're trying to sell,
their buyer's home that they're selling.
Yes. The only way that removes this contingency is when that hits pending status.
Yeah.
There can be financing contingency. That's not a contingency that's in the MLS.
So my buyers
status.
need to accept an offer and get through inspection period. If there is one, it needs to be pending.
It also cannot be contingent on the sale of another home.
Right. So they can't receive an offer that's contingent upon the sale of another home to have that be.
That will not remove this contingency.
Clear the contingency. Yeah.
Yep. So another thing to just note.
Yep.
Okay. So those are, I think, those are the baseline things to make sure you're talking to a buyer about. Excuse me. Things to talk to your seller about if you have an offer come in that's contingent on the sale of the home. So just understanding the terms of that contingency and what those could mean is going to be your major thing. How many days are they asking to get their home on the market? We talked about this on the flip side. We like to have our buyers backup homes. Again, I keep using that word because that's what it's called, or that's what I've always heard it called. But we want them to be ready to go. I want to see a 1 or a 2 in that line.
Yeah.
The ones that I got questions about were 7 and 10 days to get your home on the market.
Yeah.
So one of them that I had questions about come in this weekend, 10 days.
Yeah.
They were asking for a 75-day closing, I think.
Well, I mean, in this point, I would just say, come back to me in 10 days. Get the house ready.
What I said is, why don't we just hold this offer? I said, why don't you start with this? Talk to your seller, of course. This is the seller's choice. You never make this choice as the agent. But I said, why don't you talk to your seller about just holding the offer and saying, listen, get your house ready. if we're still sitting here in 9 days, we'll come back and we can negotiate.
Yep.
But we're not.
We could get an offer in 9 days.
Why would we
take the home effectively off the market
when you're not doing anything to get your home sold yet?
Right.
Why would I sit here and have my home off the market?
Right.
That's a ridiculous ask. So if you're going to be prepared to write these for a buyer,
have the home ready.
Get it. Yeah. Do not put a 10 there. Yeah. I would be a little bit infuriated. It also shows lack of knowledge.
Right. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm looking at you as an agent like, come on.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Get it together.
Market analysis, pricing. We talked about this on the flip side. I need to bring that to my client. I'm also going to do my own market analysis. I usually would sit down with the seller, just like we were getting ready to sell that house. I would do the exact same process with them. And so as me, the listing agent, we get an offer from you.
Yep.
You give me your marketing plan, your pricing plan.
Photos of the property. I say we're ready to go tomorrow.
And I bring that to my seller and I am going through all of that with them. And then I'm taking that address and I'm doing my own market analysis. And I'm saying,
basically as a listing agent, you're doing a listing prep for my client's home.
Correct.
Yes.
And I'm presenting that to my seller as part of this package. And I'm seeing if you're realistic or not.
Yeah.
Because if we think you're $50,000 overpriced, come back to us when you have an offer.
One thing just came to mind too, because of some listings that I've had. As a listing agent, it might be smart to at least look up Google Maps, like look it up on Google Maps on the street view and just like see or have somebody drive by the property. Like it could be next to a hoarder house. It could be next to train tracks. There could be something that you're not seeing just by looking at the data that could skew the price and like its ability to sell.
Yeah.
So something to think about
for sure. I mean, the more research you can do and the more that you can feel.
As the listing agent, like it's a lot of work, but it's not that much work. No. But it's your job then to go, is this house that they have to sell going to sell?
Exactly. It's due diligence. And in a market like we're in here right now, where we've got some properties still getting multiple offers. We've got some properties that are in a firm buyer's market, and it's a little bit all over the board.
It is.
The data is not matching consumer behavior. It's a little bit of like, whoa. I would want to see somebody coming in incredibly aggressive on list price.
Yeah.
If I was going to take a backup or a contingent offer.
Yep.
If we're going to call your contingency, so should we stop and just talk about calling a contingency?
Yep.
So if we accept your offer, Jen, buyers write your offer contingent on the sale of their home. They're on the market, la-di-da-di-da. We're on the market. It's called active contingent. So we're contingent on the sale of this property. We can still show the home. We can still accept offers. If we get an offer and it's an offer we want to work with,
We're legally called my offer. My offer is offer A. That offer is offer B.
Great.
Okay.
Number one, most important thing to understand. I'm the listing agent.
Yep.
My client is legally under contract with you.
With offer A.
Yep. We cannot sign offer B.
Yes.
Until I have a cancellation of purchase agreement on your
offer A.
Offer A. Okay. Yes. Very important.
Yes.
To understand.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people go down a full path. They accept this offer. They think they're legally under contract with two parties.
So what do we need to do with offer A?
So I need to do what's called calling the contingency. I let you know that we have an offer in hand.
Do you have to give me proof of that?
You can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I could ask for it. I could be like, why would you do it anyways? But anyways.
Now, my understanding is you don't have to have an offer. You can call the contingency. Let's just say I think you've done no price adjustments. You've done nothing to show me that you're going to get your home sold, and we're just kind of done with you. Our time is running out on being able to get this done anyway. I think the sellers legally, don't quote me on this.
We should look into it, but
Well, so I think that the sellers have the right to call this contingency anytime.
Yeah.
It's their right to get rid of you.
Well, and while it doesn't deter all the buyers, it's probably deterring some buyers that are like, they already have an offer. Are they really going to take my offer?
Well, also in transitional markets like this, how many agents have their buyer set up for a search that's showing contingent on the sale of home?
Right. So they might not even be seeing it on the market yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So they might be finding it on Zillow or somewhere else.
So note to self, when you're setting up buyer searches, you might want to include that now.
Include them now.
Yeah.
For a while, we were including none because there weren't any, and then
Yeah.
everything was moving so fast that we
Yeah.
didn't want people to see contingent homes
Yeah.
because we're like,
It's a waste of time.
don't
but
get
now
excited
it's not.
don't get excited about an inspection contingency that's going to be gone in one day.
Right.
You know, it's like
Right.
so. But yeah, that I think for
Yeah.
searches set up, I think that's really smart. So I call your contingency. Okay, that has to be in writing. Email, I think, is fine. Email or text. I think it just has to be like proof of timestamp.
Yep.
In your offer you gave me,
Yep.
there is a term of that contingency that's how many days do you have to remove the contingency once I call it.
Which means how many days as the buyer's agent do I have to get this contingency resolved? Which means
The
an
home is
offer
pending.
through pending. Yeah, to pending. The home needs to be to pending. Or if the original offer was written in that we had some other kind of financing and for some reason the seller accepted that as a term.
Yep.
Yeah.
This would also be a time, if I call your contingency, that if that is an option that was not written in yet,
Yeah.
I would be, you've already talked to your buyer about that.
Yeah.
Because we talked about making sure you're doing that
Yep.
at the
Yep.
beginning.
Yep.
That would be a time that I'd be saying to buyer, hey, we've only had one showing in the last 3 weeks. Your
Right.
market is tight. I don't know that we're going to make this. How important is it to you to get this house? And do we look into any of those? Or your parents mentioned fronting you the cash until your home sold, or we went down
You're
this
having
path.
these conversations.
If there is an option, do we want to pull that lever now and see if they'll accept it?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what that backup offer looks like.
Do you know, I mean, now we're not
Or
seeing a
offer
lot
B.
of these offers right now, but what would be a typical time frame for me representing my buyer to write in for how many days I get to have to get the home sold?
Yeah. I will tell you that back in the day,
Yeah.
which I'm calling
10 years ago?
pre-market crash even.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember when the form changed. I should have looked
Yeah.
at the bottom to see when the last change was.
Yep.
But that term used to be hours.
Really?
Yeah. Not days.
Oh.
So now standard was 24 or 48.
Wow.
It was fast.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I see an agent put in 7, 10, 14, I'm like, absolutely not. I want to see 2 to 4.
Huh.
And the reason for that is, why would this buyer sit here and wait? These come into play, buyer B, right? These come into play in a buyer's market, meaning buyers have the upper hand.
Yeah.
Buyers have more opportunity. So why would this buyer sit here and wait 7 days?
Buyer B. Yep.
Comes and sit here and wait and not have any legalities,
Yeah.
no legal contract.
Yeah.
They wait 7 days to see if you can fulfill what you've been trying to fulfill for who knows how long,
Yeah.
which is removing your contingency.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, they might not even get the opportunity to purchase the house.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
Again, time is of the essence. I think that when you have to put yourself in everyone's shoes in these situations. It used to be really, unless you were already under contract and like halfway through your inspection, if your contingency got called, it was.
I feel like
bye-bye.
it's so interesting though, because the only way to like really remove it that quickly is to have some other kind of financing. It feels like unless my buyer fire sales their house, but
that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Is like, if you're sitting there at a price, is 7 more days going to get it done?
Well,
Is 5 more days going to get it done?
7 more days might get it done if they're willing to do a price reduction, and it depend. All of the terms matter, right? Like if we submitted the offer and it's been, let's just say 5 days since I submitted the offer, your seller accepts it, they get another offer from offer B. 5 days is not a lot of time for my seller to get their home sold. But if I knew at day 5 that you got another strong offer and I had 5 days to sell the home, I could go back to the client and say, look, we just went on the market. We don't have an offer yet. We've had tons of traction. If we reduce it by X, the chances of it selling pretty quickly are good. But like to get it done in 24 hours is like nearly impossible to get it pending.
But that's the whole point. The point was not to give you more time.
Yeah.
The point was to get you out of contract and be able to move forward.
Yeah.
You should have already,
But
from
in
my
this particular
perspective,
scenario,
no.
if it's only been 5 days,
Yeah.
and it's priced right, you agreed. You were like, no, that's good pricing, good marketing, good
It's not
photos.
good enough for today. Sorry, I've got somebody that doesn't have this contingency.
Okay.
Go get rid of it. Because odds are, offer B doesn't have a contingency.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we might not be calling yours. The other thing
Okay.
is, we don't have to call yours.
Yeah.
If you are going to be cash when you get your home sold and you're showing me that you're reducing by 10 grand every 6 days.
Yeah.
I might hold in with you because you're saying I'll close 5 days
but
after
here's
I
the
get an
other,
offer.
like, let's just say, well,
or if offer B is low. Right?
could I, in this case scenario, I mean, anything's an option because everything's negotiable in theory. But let's just say that offer is a cash offer, offer B. So these are all hypotheticals, right? But these could be real scenarios. So offer B is a cash offer. They could close in 2 weeks, but it is significantly lower than offer A's net, what the net would be. Let's just say that the price is way better on offer A.
Yep.
So, well, I guess it also depends on how many days we wrote in for that contingency. You come back to me and you say, my seller wants to call the contingency. And your seller might not actually want to call the contingency in this scenario.
Well, why wouldn't we just counter them?
Okay, so talking this through. So what are the options? Like, no, we're countering you. But can you negotiate with that without this being canceled?
As long as I think we can, as long as we don't sign anything.
So verbal negotiations, I think we should double check that with your broker.
Yeah.
But these are the kinds of scenarios you get into, and I would say, because I'm rusty enough on this right now. I haven't had an offer like this. Check with your broker. Like, could you go back to offer B and counter that verbally? If you can, why wouldn't you? And just say you're going to have to come up. But these are all things to keep in mind, because it's like, is it really a better offer? Now, if I had as offer A 5 days to get their home sold and know that the price is going to be higher and that it holds with your seller, then it might be better for your seller to say, hey, listen, and if you and I as agents have good communication where I can go, look, my clients are so reasonable. They're going to reduce the price here. We've had 15 showings in 5 days. There's a lot of information that I could give you to give to your seller to stay in the game, basically.
Yeah.
So
I will say from my experience, now I've never been in a market like this market because nobody has. It's weird, right? It's wily and it's all over the place. But in my experience, most of these were coming in when homes had been in the market for a while.
Yeah.
You're not submitting on a home that's been in the market for 3 days.
Yeah.
An offer with contingency in it.
Yeah.
Usually this is when homes are, and it's usually when most homes are sitting, right? Average days on market is 68 days, 88 days, whatever it might be. You're getting into longer market time. Everybody's kind of like, well, why would I sell my home first? Yeah, of course I'm just going to write contingent and we'll get it all figured out. That's a way higher price point. It's way harder for them to sell than it is for me to sell. And usually you're not getting into these weird nitty-gritty situations.
I feel like I should go back and look. I mean, literally, this was 10 years ago, but I feel like it was relatively, I wouldn't want to say like 30% of offers that I was working with were either my clients were writing contingent or the offers I'm receiving were contingent upon the sale of a home. And like they could remove that contingency with financing, but it was always like, no, they need to sell that home.
That was like 2014, 2015, 2016. We were fully in recovery mode out of the crashed market. We weren't in a crazy seller's market, but we were back in a seller's market. But it was kind of that soft seller's market. So I think that a lot of people were using them as a mechanism of just like,
it was a safety net for them. It's like, I can buy without having to sell, but if I don't have to risk all of this.
It was giving some outs in case something, also in case something went goofy. There was, everybody got back then also being afraid of a major market shift.
Yeah.
And everybody was a little more like, oh yeah, that could happen at any time. And we wouldn't want to be stuck either.
Yeah.
That's gone a little bit. People are like, we'll sell next year. It'll be worth more.
Yeah.
Did
we cover it all?
No.
This is a lot.
I know.
We're almost to an hour, Annalie Nienow.
Well, we're wrapping
We're
this up.
close to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Turns out we can talk about things for a long time.
Have you met us? So, again, as your seller, you just want to make sure they're very aware of the terms and they're aware of their legal rights. They cannot sell to another home or another person until they have that cancellation back. Again, I had in here back in the day, and the term was hours, not days, the amount of time to remove your contingency. So if I'm trying to be competitive and I'm representing the buyer, right? You want those timelines to be as narrow as possible. You want your buyer to be as ready to sell their home as possible. You want them to be very realistic and ready to get that home sold. You also, I will note, don't want to waste your time. Right? Like if your client is not, or if their margins are narrow, meaning they don't have that much equity, and if they have to do more than one price adjustment, they're going to have to cancel because they don't have the equity to make the move happen.
Right.
Really dig in with them and say, I don't know if this is the best option for you, because you are legally putting other people out and you want to be in good faith, ready to move forward and get the deal done. So you're looking for narrow timelines on that end. If you want to do a good job of rating the strongest offer, you can write longer ones. Second thing is, as a seller, you want narrow timelines. You want to be able to be out of this as quickly as possible. I did have one back in I think this was 2017 or 2018. We got our contingency called, and so I had written the offer for the buyer. We had a home to sell. It was on the market. We had received an offer that day. They called our contingency that night, and it was 2 days that we had. We countered that offer that we had in on their backup home and got them to do the inspection the next morning and have it removed by 4 p.m. the next day. And
so you could
we were
pending.
able to, and then we went back to them and said, we'll one up you. We'll have this removed by within 24 hours. And we were
moving fast.
So understanding all of those things, so that I think really where things get sticky and icky is
people don't understand
when people don't understand, they're not explaining it to their clients get angry. And honestly, this is how the lawsuits happen and how brokers have to get involved and how earnest money questions come up, because people have not walked through every scenario of if this, then this. Now let's talk about if things go poorly. Let's talk about if everything goes wrong. What's that going to look like and how is that going to feel? Because by the way, if they don't sell their home and you've been waiting for it to sell for 60 days, they get their earnest money back. Just really making sure that people are understanding all of that. And if they're bristly at all, any client, I write those things out and I have them initial that we talked about them, to prove that you sat down and they know exactly what they're agreeing to. Just signing the purchase agreement might not be enough in some of those scenarios. So
these are, as you can see, and the reason why I kept breaking it down, wait, let's label this, let's label this.
Yeah, that probably made absolutely no sense.
Well, I think it's making sense now, but it's confusing for clients and it's confusing we really have to slow down and break it down and almost draw it out.
Yeah.
I think you need to do that for clients to make sure that they really understand the domino effect of things, that one thing happens and then all of this chain of things happens.
Yeah. Or could
happen. And just so people really understand it. And this is where we end up. I mean, we've had conversations and different things where it's I'm creating a one sheet on this. I'm creating a little diagram, an infographic that helps people understand. When the commission rules changed, you had created something like that. It's sometimes we have to really, to educate our clients effectively, and I'm very visual, make it visual for them and help them understand what this means and what this looks like. Yeah.
Okay. Also, if you are starting to see this, or if you, I don't know if you plan on selling homes in the next 3 years, I would anticipate we're going to be in an even or flippy floppy market, meaning we're going to kind of be flipping back and forth from seller to buyer, but real close to even for a minute here. I would seek out a class on this from somebody that you trust and think can do a good job.
Yep. That's great, which is a good transition into talking about the market.
Yeah, let's just pick a couple little highlights to talk about, because that went deep.
I think we have talked a lot about this, and nothing major has changed in the last quarter. I would say we're continuing to keep eyes on what is the Fed doing and understanding that it's not a direct correlation to mortgage rates. Mortgage rates right now are hovering around 6%. They went down prior to the Federal Reserve coming out and making these announcements. And now if they make an inverse announcement and say, we're going to hold or we're going to go down, when the Federal Reserve decides to lower their rate, it's because there's a lack of stimulation or stability kind of in the economy. So it actually is not necessarily helpful for mortgage rates. Correct. It's the inverse of it. So if the Federal Reserve says we're cutting rates again, it's not then people are like, oh, we have a lack of stability, so mortgage rates can go up.
Yeah. And note also that like the Fed came out, I think it was before the September cut or before they met in September. And they said, we are planning 2 to 3. All of those cuts already got accounted for in the mortgage world.
Yeah. Yeah.
More cuts this year mean absolutely nothing.
Probably.
More than likely.
Yeah.
What the mortgage world is saying is they rolled 2 to 3 cuts into that. Now, what I always think is hilarious is that the mortgage world, just like every other money market, is going to push whatever they can until consumers stop buying.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why it's also not intrinsically connected to anything. It's its own market. It's its own open market. Like they can say we've already rolled this in, but in the adverse, they always raise. They will always go up when there's negative coming out, but when there's more positive things coming out or more things that we would think would mean rates would come down, which aren't always economically positive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and go ahead.
But they almost always say we already took that into account when we dropped back here. But in the other direction, when they're going up, they never pre-take things into account.
Yeah.
They're always it always goes up and up and up. So I would just say be prepared for them to be 6 at the low end for the foreseeable future, because we're not seeing anything that is dramatically pointing in other directions. I looked back. Sorry. I'm going to step on you. I'm going to step on you one more time.
Okay, go ahead.
I was looking back at notes from one of our early economic things that we did, and it was like, we're absolutely not going to see sub 6 this year. I think that was in July. And I was like, well, we did. Like here we got
For
like
a blank.
599.
Yeah.
But really that data has held pretty much exactly what was thought back in June, July is exactly how it's playing out right now. And so I just think that, everything is too volatile. There is no clear picture in any direction. And I would not be promising or talking to anybody about big relief in interest rates anytime soon.
No.
I would not be saying date the rate, marry the house. I would not be saying anything. I would be saying talk to your lender and let's make a plan about a budget that works for you right now. And that's all we can do, because this could be this way for a few years.
Yeah.
Easily.
I have sellers ask me right now, like, well, aren't the Feds going to cut rates? And so that's going to stimulate the market. I have sellers that have wanted to hold at a pretty high price because they thought that the market is the same as that it was 3 years ago. And then they're looking to the Fed and assuming that if the Fed cuts rates, then it means it's going to stimulate the real estate market. And so there's a few reasons why I like to watch what the economic news is nationally and what the Federal Reserve is doing and what Jerome Powell is saying, is because it doesn't give me a direct line to the consumer, but it helps me have a broader picture of how the consumer might be interpreting what they're hearing, buyers, sellers, and like what that might mean for buyer and seller behavior right now. So that when I'm meeting with a seller, I can say across the board, this is actually what I'm seeing. You know, I've got this really quirky $3 million listing right now. I have first-time home buyers, but buyer behavior feels like erratic kind of, or it feels like
because schizophrenic.
Yeah. Well, and buyers, even at that high price point now, I'm having conversations with agents that are representing buyers for multi-million-dollar properties who have the ability to buy cash. And they're like, yeah, we're a cash buyer, but we're watching our portfolio and we're unsure of what's happening in the economy. And then you've got first-time home buyers that are like, am I going to be able to, is this actually the best time to buy? So everybody feels tentative. Yeah. It's not that they're not able to buy, but they're like, what is happening in the world? And that uncertainty is just changing buyer behavior.
100%.
So that's why I like to watch. And so that I can go back to my clients and say, well, this is what's happening in the economy right now.
Yeah. 100%.
So not a lot has changed. It's just more uncertainty upon more uncertainty.
Yeah. I also would say, to your point, know your client and know who your buyer client is if you're a listing agent, because absolutely, like what's affecting the first-time home buyers is not affecting the $3 million buyers. They are watching different things, and things like a Fed shift dramatically affects them differently.
Yes.
People that have big portfolios or a lot of money in the stock market are going to have completely different concerns than people who are tied to interest rate and payment, monthly payment, right? Those are two different conversations. So I mean, you can get really granular. And when I'm working with clients, I try to really talk to them about who their client profile is, buyer or seller. So if I'm working with a buyer, who is your seller and what is affecting them right now? And are they feeling a pinch or are they not? Or what's going to look really good to them? Or what other offers might they be seeing? Or what are they hearing? And if I'm a seller, I'm talking about who is your likely buyer and what is affecting them right now. And here's things, by the way, client, that you can be watching.
Yeah.
Like if we're on a path to selling and we've got a 3-month runway, I'm telling them, like, here's what I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you your competition every Monday. And I want you to be watching this, this, and this, because this is what's affecting your buyer right now. And if we see this happen, watch it correlate with your active competition. They're going to be sitting longer. They're going to, so I like to gear my clients with all of that so that they feel more empowered also to make these decisions.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
That's good.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've got stuff all over the place. In general, I think we talked about this a little bit before we got on here, but in general, we're seeing this kind of normal seasonality behavior mixed with abnormal economic and worldly pressures that's causing this, what I said schizophrenic. That's not a nice word to use, I guess. We're not supposed to use those kinds of words.
Probably not.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place, and it feels kind of anecdotally like the market is trying to level. It's trying to find its level, like what's its set point, kind of. And to me right now, it just, again, anecdotally feels more balanced. I was looking at the Twin Cities 13 county metro area average days on the market, not median, is 48 right now. 3 years ago, it was 11. I mean, that's a huge shift. And it's not that crazy, though. 48 days as an average time on market is not 200. It's not like an insane, but it's a big difference from where we were. And so it feels like we're kind of leveling out, but then it also energetically, and when you're meeting with like clients right on, is like, it feels erratic. It just feels unpredictable kind of right now.
I feel like three different homes that all are virtually identical and at the same price could have 3 completely different experiences. And it might be that they go on at 3 different days.
Yeah.
Or that it might be, I mean, it's like these
micro
little differences are causing
which
crazy
again,
different
important
responses.
Conversations to have with clients.
Yeah,
and
100%.
important why it's important too. Like if you don't have a ton of listings yourself, get connected. If you're not in a big brokerage or a big office, go to some networking events or get connected and ask people, what are you seeing in the market? And don't just take one person's experience as the gospel truth because of what we're saying. Like at least if you have a smattering of data and anecdotal kind of boots on the ground stories, case studies or whatever, then you can bring that to your client and be able to say, here's what we're seeing and here's what you should expect. Don't have expectations right now. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Good on market talk?
I hope so.
Are we going to talk about this last thing? Gosh.
I was going to say we could hold it until next week.
All right, let's hold it. So next week on Real Estate Done Rightish, we're going to be talking about, in part, how to compartmentalize. So the idea is that, like, I've had life, we always have life, quote unquote, showing up, but I've had some stuff happening with one of my kids. I've got 3, so there's always going to be something happening, and have had some tough days. And so I was thinking today, like, what if we all have that in life, and how do you still get work done? Whether it's being responsive to clients in a positive way, or it's prospecting and building the business. Like, what are the tools that we use? Like, what works well for us and what doesn't work well for us? Yeah. So we'll talk about that next week.
Yes.
Okay.
And some other stuff. And send us your Ask Me Anythings.
Yeah.
hello@realestatedonerightishpod.com.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's all for this week's episode of Real Estate Done Rightish. Until next time, cheers to doing it rightish.
How fast?
You decide. We don't want it slow, but we don't want it like. I mean, it could be funny if we do it really fast.
I don't know how fast I can do it. We'll try. I'll just do it as fast as it feels. Okay. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general knowledge and informational purposes only and do not constitute professional, legal, or financial advice. As licensed real estate agents in the state of Minnesota, we are not attorneys, financial advisors, or tax professionals, and we cannot provide advice in those areas or in regards to any agency or broker-specific topics in any other state. Any reliance you place on the information provided in this podcast is strictly at your own risk. We strongly encourage you to consult with qualified professionals for specific guidance related to your individual circumstances.